Right, so today we're playing Fillet versus Thresher. One of the most miserable matchups in Guild Ball, to be honest. Ask me why. The chat says Fillet Princess up here. We have Fillet Truffles. I'm not quite sure how that happened. But on 3 times speed, so let's pause for a moment and just assess initial setup. So Thresher's kicking off. Home team 1 initiative, chose to kick. Perfectly fine with us. Thresher's generally considered a kicking captain. He likes to go last. He likes the double activations. I think against Butchers, that's wrong. Just because Butchers versus at least Thresher farmers is such a heavy, like threat bubble oriented, kiting style matchup. You desperately need the ball. The ball determines so much in this matchup. So I think the usual wisdom of Thresher kicking doesn't apply against Butchers, but I've gone with Thresher kicking. Gotten a pretty good kick straight into the forest. Difficult to retrieve. So strategies for a bit, because I like to talk about macro and micro strategies in Guild Ball. I hate those terms, but they're the ones I'm going to use for now anyway until I get a better name. So our macro strategy against farmers, at least for Fillet versus Thresher, is basically just kill Thresher. Thresher makes all of their points, 12 points, most games. Sometimes they can kick goals. Usually Thresher kicks the goal. And then whatever other Reaper they've got tries to make points in however it does it. Opponent here has chosen Fallow. So the opponent's trying to kill people with Fallow. They're trying to plant with Lamb and Plowman. Jackstraw puts harvest markers up in your opponent's face so that Thresher can use them because he needs the Ford harvest markers. So Jackstraw combos with him, and Thresher kills everyone. So our goal is just kill Thresher. Makes the game quite easy when you do. So for that end, we have Vedox, makes it much harder for Thresher to position safely. When he kites back into his team, Vedox can pull him 4 inches forwards, and that means we can get a scrum built around Thresher and not around a bunker full of planters. So we've got Vedox to threaten Thresher's positioning. We've got Roast, because Roast is the primary killer on the Butchers. Loves hitting his 4-0 models, knocks them down to 3-0. Intimidation makes them 2-0. Roast loves hitting farmers, and farmers don't really enjoy hitting him. Obviously, Thresher can kill him. Thresher can kill him quite easily. Thresher can kill anyone easily. That's not a knock on Roast at all. We're receiving, so I'm trying O-Brisket. O-Brisket on the receive gives out the influence to use both Fillet and Roast. Meat Hook's pretty standard pairing with Fillet. Farmers have a lot of hit points. Meat Hook dishes out 5 damage for 1 influence with her tooled up on Fillet, so very good at chewing through their big hit points. Against teams with momentous pushes, I generally like Truffles more than Princess. I don't think farmers can punish Truffles all that well, so I think Truffles good against farmers. So our strategy, literally just use the ball, delay activations, like get it down to just Fillet versus Thresher and have Fillet kill him. So let's watch it play out. So Meat Hook's in charge of fetching the ball. She doesn't have a particularly valuable activation, so she's quite good at it, and she's got the 3 kick to do it. So she'll place... I don't remember. I don't think she places she doesn't play the tooled up on Fillet. She's got a sprint and kick because it's in the forest. We're not really planning to use Fillet turn 1. I'll get into that a little later in the turn. So for now, we're just going to waddle the ball around. Opponent, something we expect from them is they're going to build a fort on this little piece of terrain obstacle here. Farmers almost always do. Most defensive combat teams do. They'll pick a piece of terrain and that's their fort. So the idea is the planters will all sit here, and then Thresher will lash out from here and return. So, like, end of the activation, Thresher will charge out, kill someone, win momentum, then kill someone else, and run back to his cover. And so you'll get, over the course of like 5 or 6 turns, you'll make 12 points just killing 2 people at a time like that. And if we ever try to fight, the farmers either run away or they sit and fight on this piece of terrain, and they get to use their huge influence bonus. The planters just dishing out the 2 damage at a time. And Thresher can hide behind them in that case. They get to build the scrum entirely how they want it to, is what they're looking to do. Vedox is supposed to fight that. He can pull people off this cover again and sit on the halfway mark and just pull. And then we build. So Ox helps us to determine the scrum where we want it. We can see why later in the match, potentially. Why that's so important. Positioning the scrum's a big deal for these sort of fighting mirrors. For quite a few different reasons. Often a simple one is just if the scrum's on your side, your models get back into the fight faster than your opponents do. Often that's just the tipping point, but there's other reasons as well. Ability to kill and retrieve the ball, ability to use the ball. Who has to activate in what order? There's a number of things. Fast models getting into the fight before slow models is not a good thing. There's lots. Anyway, Ox does his passing the ball along the line. You'll notice Ox didn't wander very far forward. Something very important for butchers, I think. You don't need to walk far forward. Meat hook's here, Ox is here, roast here, truffle's here. So the bottom of this guild ball here is 4 inches from halfway and 12 inches from your opponent's side. So if your opponent's got an 8-inch sprint and a 2-inch reach, if you just stay at about, that means they'll threaten 10 inches, which is about halfway along this guild ball. So if you just stay behind this guild ball logo in the middle, all the standard 8-inch sprint, 2-inch reaches won't be able to reach you. And then even with a lot of like 2-inch movement tricks, they still won't get you, just because it then has to be directly opposite in terrain and other stuff. Rule of thumb, if you stay behind this ball, you're pretty safe from opponent's threat bubbles. Doesn't apply to the Thresher, of course, because Thresher kicked off. So he's had his free jog. Thresher's threat bubble extends to our deployment zone. Anyway, just wanted to highlight, I think it's commonly held that butchers just charge it, lots of guilds, people just turn 1, move as far as you can, so that you're ready for turn 2. You really don't need to. These things are threatening, Vedox is threatening Thresher from here. Vedox can sprint 7 inches to about the halfway mark, and then he's got his 4-inch pull with the chains. That's here. So Vedox is threatening he didn't have to go far back to threaten things. Meathook's just got to jog somewhere and tool up. Roast has a 9-inch sprint, which takes him to about where Fallow is. I would even argue the opponents may become a little far forward here. Fallow maybe should have been a little further back. Okay, Fillet's activation. So this is where we'll talk about on the receive what you do turn 1. So normally people plan for a big Fillet turn 1, which is fine. But you generally can't do a big fighting turn and a goal run turn. If you're trying to do both on turn 1, you tend to get stretched too far, and each one tends to be too weak. So I usually choose between my goal scorer, Obrisket in this case, or Fillet. And I'll choose Obrisket every time. If you're choosing Obrisket and not going on goal runs, you should have chosen someone else. So Fillet, yeah, as safe as possible. She's going to hide behind the big model here. In retrospect, I think Truffles and Vedox possibly should have just been in base contact, and then Fillet hide behind them both, just to make it impossible for Thresher to reach her. Because if she's behind these big base block models, they block line of sight. So if they stand base contact, she gets a wall blocking line of sight. Geez, for the coughing. It's just going to be a thing for me. Anyway, so Fillet's just sped up Brisket with a quick foot, dodged Brisket forward. Brisket's also picked up Roast buff. And then she's getting super safe behind Truffles way, way back. She'll be able to reach people in future. Like, we're not worried about Fillet's ability to reach someone that's just sort of middling around, like wandering around in the middle of the pitch. She'll do that. So this is one thing I learned from this game about doing receiving goal runs and brisket goal runs, especially O'Brisket, who doesn't have a dodge attached to her tackle. You don't need to do this last activation. In retrospect, I don't need this pain circle. Some of Fillet's influence could have been on roast. And then we just don't activate roast early. Fillet dodges brisket forward, and then we keep roast back to protect brisket. So if the opponent comes in on brisket this activation, roast comes in on them. And then roast can push them to where, like, in or out of engagement with brisket as needed, knock them down, whatever. So I was too focused on O'Brisket needs to be the last activation. But she really doesn't. She could have dodged forward before roast's activation so that she has a bodyguard. So what we've done now, what we've risked now is Jackstraw can actually reach her. We calculated that if Jackstraw just does all these tricks, jump, put down harvest markers, jump, walk, like, he can get to exactly brisket and tackle the ball off her at 2-inch range. Which is a disaster, because brisket then has to walk into Jackstraw to get the ball back. She doesn't have a second form of movement like acrobatics or anything like that. Now we judged Jackstraw couldn't do anything. His last influence is the tackle, so the opponent ended up deciding not to do that. I think they should have. I think denying Brisket's goal run here was very valuable. The opponent opted for not doing that. Yeah, something to keep in mind. So the striker usually goes last because it makes it harder for your opponent to punish the goal and revenge kill the striker. But it was more important for us here to go second last. And honestly, the difference between second and last isn't that different for O'Brisket. Part of the point of O'Brisket is if she's the target of the opponent's killing, that's great. She wants to score 4 points, and then she's just a meat shield. O'Brisket, despite being a striker, is the tankiest butcher squaddy on the field, on the squad. 14 HP, 4-1 defenses, unpredictable movement. Like, she's absolutely the tankiest. Well, depending, obviously, but she's often the tankiest squaddy on the team. Anyway, Brisket charges Jackstraw, spikes 5 random successes. It's momentous 2 double dodge to then just put the ball in the goal. 5 dice. We're very lucky Brisket's such a good shot because there's only 1 dice here actually got a 4+ with that 4. But she nails her goal, so good job to Brisket. Ball scatters really awkwardly for the opponent. It just lands back on Brisket. So we're going to happily take it. And that's going to force Thresher. Thresher probably wanted to come into here. Ox, like, if he could hit Fillet, he wants to, but I don't think he can. He probably wanted to come in here. Now he's forced to go on Brisket, which is fine. He's still going to kill someone. He's still going to take out Brisket. But Thresher can't come in here and then first activation next turn do his thing, because then Brisket's just going to go put the ball in the goal. We're very happy with this. Obviously, Thresher's going to deny Brisket doing anything here, but she's already done her thing. She's the one we want to go down. So Thresher comes, takes the ball off her, beats her up. All perfectly fine. And it looks like we're going to have an active turn 2. The planters were a little conservative, but Fallow's too far forward. Both Vedox and Roast can do things to Fallow, so turn 2 we will be having a scrum. The farmers can't freeze turn 2. And turn 2 is very rarely frozen anyway, just the way players tend to play. Yeah, Brisket takes a bunch of damage, we don't care. Whatever Thresher rolls, he rolls. I think he actually missed his knockdown for a while. A little unlucky. Okay, yep, and then Jackstraw wants the ball. Jackstraw is the main striker on the team. Jackstraw has a ton of movement, and he has a 3-8 kick. Pretty sure it's 3-8 kick. Maybe it's 3-6. What is Jackstraw's kick? Two 8. Ah, it's 2-8. I thought it was 8. Alright, well, 2-8 kick, that's right. He's the one that can miss awkwardly. Generally speaking, Thresher doesn't go on goal runs until he's got 8 points. Either, if Thresher's safe, he can kill someone and then, like, top of the turn, he can kill someone and then go kick the ball in the goal. The opponent doesn't have much threat. They do have a lot of threat. He can hold the ball until 8 points and then kick the winning goal. Thresher loves to use the ball to help him kite. Thresher loves that mobility. Anyway, yeah. Setting up for next turn. Brisket took a bunch of damage. Thresher got the ball back for the farmers. We get crushed in momentum. We spent ours on our goal run. Thresher generated a lot. So we're just going to take resources. Extra shot was our resources card this game, so extra attack. They decided Vedox gets the no tackle free sprint. That should have been Fillet, 100%. Fillet is a super solo. Don't let her get free buffs. Vedox is a very supporting piece. Not as scary as I think a lot of people find. And yeah, Roast is just primary killer, so he's getting the other one, of course. Right, let's pause here and then be back for turn 2. Okay. For turn 2. I guess we should go through influence real quick. Fillet gets 6, that's pretty standard. Don't know what her turn's going to look like yet, but it'll be as big as possible. We'll figure that out as it progresses. Meat Hook gets 1. She always gets 1 to tool up Fillet, and if she's threatening someone important, she gets a second one to cut them for snared. Roast gets 4, backup killer, and then Vedox usually doesn't get too many. So Truffles needs 1 to charge. Princess uses 0, so that's one of the benefits of Princess. She gives an extra 1 out to Ox instead. Yeah, Ox often gets either 1 so that he can try and sprint and lash out, or 2 so that he can try and whirling chain someone. And then usually one of your models is basically dead and gets 0. That's just part of being the butchers. Usually it's Gutter. In this case, it's Brisket. Because Brisket kicked a goal, Vedox gets the full complement of influence instead. Simple as that. And then opponent's a farmer. That just means everyone gets full influence. Just playing the farmers. And their perks. Probably their biggest perk. They just play with 16 to 20 influence on the board, and everyone else is playing with 13. Yep, opponent goes first. They crush momentum. Brisket goes down as expected. This is fine. This is what Thresher does. And then this is the tipping point for the game. I think I just bumped Thresher. That's okay. So this is the point where Thresher runs away now. When Thresher's killed someone, he either runs at the goal and kicks it in, which would have been a legitimate option here if he didn't give it to Jackstraw last turn. 2 influence to just sprint, shoot. And then like dodge back to the halfway mark. Probably gets Thresher killed, but it's 6 points. Or he runs back to this cover here or behind Plowman or something. The opponent's decision to charge in to pop Roast's like resilience. Popping Roast resilience is great. Target for the rest of the team. But this is not how Thresher plays. So someone like the Brewers, the Blacksmiths, even like Butchers and Cooks sometimes. That's so Butchers anyway. You just start a scrum like this. Just send someone in, set someone up. Set up an opponent model to be killed. And that counts. Roast is now set up to be killed. That's not how Thresher plays. Thresher's come in, he's set up Roast to be killed. Now what? You got a bunch of planters that don't do anything. That's, yeah. I think this was a big mistake from the opponent. Thresher is not a brawling, scrumming captain. except when all of your planters are already in the scrum. Like the planters need to kick it off, not Thresher himself. Now we're just going to kill him. Thresher's in the middle of our team. Truffles charged him, awkwardly missed the knockdown, and decided to just push him into Roast's reach so that Roast can have his movement freed up for whatever he needs to do with it. We would have liked the knockdown on Thresher there, but missed it. Jackstraw starts measuring his goal runs. I'm actually a little surprised Jackstraw has such an effective goal run from that far back. This game raised my estimation of Jackstraw a lot. He's quite an effective point scorer for a planter, and especially for a double planter. It's down 2 harvest markers. I guess he costs 1 influence to do it, so it's sort of debatable if he's actually a double planter, but yeah, it's quite like the setup of Jackstraw, 2 other planters, and a Reaper, at least for Thresher. So it gives you the Captain, Jackstraw, and the Reaper. Point scorers. Jackstraw's measuring his goal run. I think the opponent decides against it in the end. I'm not threatening the ball at all. I decide, yeah, if there's other things they can do in the meantime, feel free. I guess this is a good a time as any. Like, Plowman's fine. I like Plowman. I don't like Lamb much. And this is where Vet Honor is insane. I think Vet Honor is the best character on the Farmers lineup. And this is part of why. Like, if Thresher just dodges back to the halfway mark here and gets the Faithful Guardian Defender, whatever it's called, -1 tack, he's much harder to kill. I'll probably still kill him because I'm a Fillet Butchers with 2 extra influence. But it'll be here. The opponent will have a much easier time setting up a scrum in the middle than on cover on my side of the board. Lamb can't come and participate in this, so this is a big part of it. And Vet Honor, of course, is a double planter as well. So, anyway, Plowman decides to come in on Roast, knocks him down, whacks him for a bunch of damage, gets Big Belly, pushes him out. Well, fairly standard, I think. I would have just pushed Roast out of cover or something, back into like having to move towards Thresher. Opponent knocks down the Truffles. We both remember, we remember Truffles has Sturdy, doesn't actually work. So he puts up Broken Earth instead on the last attack. I always forget Truffles has Sturdy. Part of the point of the character, but it's just hard to remember for some reason. So, Plowman made some momentum, but he didn't really succeed in saving or helping Thresher. Roast is still going to mess him up. The knockdown doesn't affect Roast at all. Roast, like Thresher set up Roast to be killed. Someone needs to actually come and kill him, and Fellow does not have the movement to do that. And Fellow has to wait till later in the turn anyway, most of her stuff. So we're not pressured to activate Roast to get him to safety. We can activate Meat Hook here, we can activate Roast here, either way. I'd be reluctant to activate Veteran Ox here just because all he can do right now is either pull in Lamb, which we don't want to do, the scrum's already happened over here, or go beat up Plowman, which we also don't really... Ox can do better than just go sink a couple of damage into Plowman. Okay, we decided to activate Roast. Yep, push Thresher around, knock him down. I think we're both trying to knock down Thresher here. I think this was a mistake. Did I go after? I went after Plowman here, right? I mostly just want to confirm Fillet is going to have a really good activation. If both of these are knocked down, neither of them can counter Fillet. And Fillet is terrified of counterattacks. Plowman has a decent double push. Act 5, double push on 3, something like that. Yeah, exactly. So it's like 30% bonus timed, 32% was it, I think. Anyway, so Roast is currently trying to make Fillet's activation safe. I think that was unnecessary on Plowman. If we really need to do that, Vedox can already do it. Vedox can go in, knock him down, crowd him out, whatever. Roast should have been hiding from Fallow. Roast should have sat over here and continued to wail on Thresher. So I'm not a fan of what I did with Roast here. But that's what we did. We knocked down Thresher, we pushed him out of cover, we knocked down Plowman. We made some momentum. We set everything up for a Fillet turn. Both of these have already activated, so it's going to be hard for the opponent to have enough momentum to encourage both of them to clear those knockdowns. Okay, Jackstraw decides it's goal run time. Feeling pretty good here. The scrum has formed in a great place for us. The difficulty of this game was going to be trying to deny the opponent bunkering up, but they've decided to play very, very aggressively, so we're going to happily play defense. Jackstraw can make his goal run. Butchers aren't great at interrupting this sort of thing. Long-range goal runs. We don't have particularly good ball retrieval tools. No, whatever Jackstraw does here, he does. Go for it. It's going to make it a little hard to protect the ball, but I'm confident Fillet can do it. It means Fillet is going to threaten a lot of 6-point activations. If she's sitting wherever she wants with the ball, she'll threaten to put that in the goal. Do Thresher's trick of kill someone and then sprint at the goal and shoot. So we're not too worried about a Jackstraw goal here. Okay, Jackstraw does some stuff, plants some harvest markers. Gets out of Roast and Truffle's reach and shoots at the goal. Gets it. He's going to kick the ball back towards Fillet. In retrospect, that should have been a little more to the right. I really didn't want it landing down here, but it would have been fine. That should have been a little more to the right. We let it scatter towards Jackstraw. We shouldn't have. But that's okay. So one thing thinking about now is I want to break harvest markers. Something you should always be thinking about against Hummers. You can run over the harvest markers. You can give up a charge, it's fine. If you can sprint over harvest markers and then attack, that's great. So, and these are all in very exposed positions. So you're going to be looking for opportunities to sprint. Okay, still no pressure on Ox's activation, so Meat Hook's just going to set up. That's fine. And Fillet would like to go last. Brisket died before activating, so the opponent has last activation again. I'm going to be a little wary of Fallow coming in killing Roast, but I think that's going to happen really no matter what we do. So I'm happy to just activate late in the turn. And we don't really want to make it easy for Fallow to come in and get Fillet if we can. Okay, Lamb decides coming on Meat Hook. Great. We don't care about Meat Hook. Meat Hook does nothing valuable for us here except throw out a tooled up or a snare. And Lamb coming in on her doesn't disrupt us at all. It puts Meat Hook in a great position. But it was the only target for Lamb, and Lamb wants to make some momentum, so... we understand the opponent had to do it. We're happy to see Meat Hook take this hit. Ox gets knocked down. I might be mistaken. They might have just hit Ox the whole time and taken the crowd out. Either way. So we're going to decide activating Fillet or Ox. I think I ended up going with Fillet here, just because I saw an opportunity to break this harvest marker, which means Fallow doesn't actually have her 2 harvest markers, because she has to be the start of her activation. She can't move towards them. I think we went with Fillet to take the opportunity to break this one into knife Fallow. Naturally, I completely missed that Peck could, of course, Peck hasn't activated yet. He can just run over and give Fallow her marker back. That was, yeah, an awkward thing to forget. But I think Fillet a fine turn anyway. Fillet is going to sprint, crush 2 harvest markers doing it, free sprint because we got this card. And if you remember, right back to the start, our game plan, entire macro, big overarching strategy here, we want to kill Thresher. So she's going to make her way over there. Fillet has dodges on almost all her damage. So we're going to start dodging off of Plowman to get there. 2-1 model, but 9 dice, 10 dice because Roast is helping us on the gang up. So very easy. Blood Rain. And then we even start wrapping on Plowman. Yes, yeah. Momentous 6 double dodge and a regular 3 for 9 damage to him. Double dodge over to Thresher. Let's start beating up Thresher. So it's nice not having to worry about counters. Roast set all this up earlier in the turn. Put himself in danger to do so. And yeah, now we just very easily kill Thresher. I think we had 4 influence left going into him. I tooled up. Thresher's bleeding. In retrospect, I think I messed this up. I have 2 influence left. I think I decided to just legendary both of them. I should have just killed Thresher, bounced off Plowman, killed Plowman. Instead, I decided to legendary and throw a pain circle at Fallow. I'm not sure why. It comes out pretty similar. We missed the pain circle on Fallow anyway. Okay, so feeling pretty safe on Fallow because we denied one of our harvest markers. I'm now reminded that, oh yeah, Peck is just going to give her the second one back. Fallow is actually scary. I don't know how well Fallow can kill Fillet here. She can probably win momentum. So I feel in a very strong spot still. But yeah, Fallow killing Fillet and retrieving the ball for the farmers. Big, big concern right now. Don't know if Pack 8 Fallow can one-round Fillet though. No. Vedox is figuring out what he can do. So if we walk over to Plowman, attack Plowman, we then have the owner up to attack Peck twice and kill him. They're just too far apart. Peck was slightly closer. Ox could have stood on 2 inches of both. Instead, I think we just take the 2-0 Lamb. 2-0 defenses on Lamb. We're just going to take these big dice. We've got to gang up. Roll 8 dice into this 2-0. Take the value where we can. And then jog over to clean up Plowman. Plowman is bleeding to death at the moment. The opponent will have momentum to encourage him. And I'm also kind of worried about opening with the encouraged and giving the gang up on Fillet, because an extra gang up on Fillet might be the difference. So Ox is going to go clean up Plowman with the flash out. So we're at 8 points. 8 points is sadly not 10. But Fillet is threatening to win first activation by sprinting and shooting. But obviously Fallow is about to mess with that. And I think this was the big questionable decision of the match from my opponent. They decided to go after Veteran Ox. Now, Veteran Ox draws a lot of undeserved aggro. He pulls a lot of people to attack him, partly because he's got 3-1 defenses and he's very easy to beat up. But yeah, Fallow needed to attack the ball here. fact that my captain is carrying the ball, you can get two birds with one stone. I think Fallow is going to just try and kill Ox. I think low rolled it quite a bit. Ox doesn't actually die. Yeah, that's a lot of twos, not many threes. Although Ox is a 2-1 at the moment. Ox has 19 hit points. He's not that easy to one round. But he gets thoroughly beaten up. And that'll be the end of the turn. Okay. So for the end of the turn, quite a comfortable position. We're up 8-6. Opponent's got 2 players dead, including their solo carry captain. They're both going to struggle to come back on despite this fast ground. We're up 1 in momentum for this momentum race. And yeah, Fillet is threatening an instantly win goal. Main concern at the moment is just stop the opponent from getting a 6-point activation. So Jackstraw can take the ball off Fillet and shoot. It's quite difficult for him, but he can do it. But that still only takes our opponent to 10. Now, I don't understand why, for the life of me, I played this card. I think I knew my opponent didn't have a 7. We saw both 7s at the start. Not shown in the video. I think I decided match fixing was going to win. And that's just not the case. Even so, I should have played Catenaccio. So I don't understand why I played this card. This is a huge mistake. I really wanted to go first here. Instead, the opponent gets to go first. Fillet really needs to take this ball to safety. However she does it. Even if it's just run over here, kill Peck, and kick the ball somewhere. Most likely it'll be run at someone coming back on and try and kill them. But yeah. Fillet needs to keep this ball safe, and now that we're going second, it's a lot scarier. I 100% should have played Gegenpress here. Not like I need the influence from match fixing. Maybe I thought there'd be an extra turn in the game and I'd need the 7 for next turn? I am stumped why I picked match fixing. Yeah, opponent's just gonna come back on. I don't think Thresher can quite make the fast ground, but he could come near it if he likes. It's awkward because Fillet can threaten to kill him, so opponent's got to be very aware of threat bubbles here. Brisket comes back on bleeding. It's awkward. I don't really care. Bleed doesn't tick till the end of the turn, and the end of the turn's a very, very long way away right now, considering this game's end. Yeah, opponent's a farmer. We did actually crush, because we squished 2 harvest markers after the planters had already activated, and Fallow needed to rip up 2 more. Actually don't have that much influence. And so yeah, Thresher just misses out. I actually would have been pretty tempted to just take all this influence and just put 4 naturally on Fallow. Feels insane, but I don't think Thresher and Plowman have anything left to contribute in this game. I think Jackstraw kicking a goal and one of these 2 killing Ox is like the big win condition here. Or at least Jackstraw kick a goal and maybe next turn. There's not going to be a next turn. But yeah. I'm having tempted to put 4 naturally on Fallow here. Maybe even 2 on Peck. Just take all 5 of this. Anyway, opponent gets to go first. Jackstraw gets to jog over to Fillet. A 2-inch jog coming in handy. Unfortunately, can reach a... Now, I'm not convinced my opponent has line of sight here. That's something that should have been called out in the game, I think. I think we've both missed it on the clock. We're also... I think we're just ignoring the clock for this purposes. I frequently tell my opponents just ignore the clock if the time's running out. But yeah, I don't think he actually has line of sight on Fillet here. I think that's something we should have flagged in the game. But anyway, he gets the tackle on Fillet. He dodges off of Truffles. My dog's name is Truffle and keeps reacting to a name. And now Jackstraw gets to make his shot without any interference. Brisket's actually standing in his goal path. I don't think he can draw a line there without Brisket in it. So Brisket takes the dice off him and he misses. Or Jackstraw. Even so, going to 10 points, that's not for the whole game there. Jackstraw was rolling 1 dice needing 4s. Straight up 50-50. Now, we're going to make one of the biggest throws in my Guild Ball career. You can see positioning Vedox around here. Decided is what we're going to do. And anyone particularly familiar with the farmers can tell instantly what's wrong with this. Takes a big chunk out of Lamb. Lamb's currently a 2-0. Got a gang up, rolling a lot of dice. So the big problem with this that both of us forgot about in game is that Fallow has protective instinct. You're engaging Fallow, you have to attack Fallow rather than someone else. I wasn't actually allowed to attack Lamb here. Now, Ox does have a number of pushes. Maybe we could have pushed Fallow out and still killed Lamb. Probably not, to be honest. Maybe just knocking Fallow down was enough since they have 0 momentum. The thing we have to be afraid of here is, well, first of all, Lamb could put the ball on the goal. Admittedly, with 0 momentum, he can't really do that. There's lots of things wrong with activating Ox right here. Foremost among them being if Brisket just walks over and gets the ball, just run away with it, pick it up, take it somewhere, take it into cover on the goalpost, whatever. We can't lose. So all we needed to do was activate Brisket and secure the ball. Opponent cannot win this game without scoring a goal very, very, very soon. And Fallow can't even beat unpredictable properly, so 100% should have activated Brisket. Massively overthought things, like trying to save Ox or whatever we were trying to do. I do remember the main thing we were trying to do is if I kill Lamb, opponent has 0 influence on the pitch because they haven't got a chance to plant yet, so they can't actually activate Fallow next. So I'm just trying to take this influence off the pitch. Big problems with that are 1, Fallow, protective instinct, I'm not allowed to. 2, when Lamb dies, he drops 5 harvest markers on the pitch. So killing Lamb gives them all the harvest markers they need. So this was miserable in a number of ways. In the end, we agree it's like too late to fix things. And honestly, attacking Lamb was such a big mistake here anyway that probably not even that bad for my opponent. That we forgot the rule. Anyway, so Lamb wanders over. Ox wanders over. He butchers Lamb. He cleared his knockdown, so he can't heal. It's unfortunate. My opponent now reminds me that, oh yeah, 5 harvest markers come out. Your plan of blanking all the influence was deeply flawed from the start. Fallow can sprint to the ball and put it in the goal. She can't quite jog. So she needs 2 influence to do that, and she needs 2 influence to kill Ox. So she's TAC 4 at the moment. 1 activation's happened. Jackstraw's. So she spikes either attack to that momentous 3-on-3. She'll kill Ox on the 2 attacks. Sprint to the ball, kick it in, win the game. Big throw. The downside there is I have 5 momentum. Ox has a counterattack. He can bonus time it. And Fallow can't afford to move beforehand. Any sort of push on Fallow is just going to completely wreck. You can see the dodge on 2, double push on 2, double push on 3. Any sort of push is just going to completely wreck Fallow's activation here. So Fallow can't actually beat Ox's counterattack here. She needs him to break the 8 dice counter into a 4-0. Outside of that, we were trying to find it here. We couldn't find any way for Fallow to just win the game. I was very relieved after like one of the biggest throws of my career. So it was very simple. Just activate Brisket, secure the ball. All I need to do. Doesn't matter if Ox dies. Fillet's killing everyone. Even if Fillet doesn't kill everyone, we win momentum and kill someone next turn. Like, we can't lose as long as the ball's safe. And we got 3 targets and only need 2 of them, so the opponent can't run either. Anyway, now that we got past that tilting part, Fallow's going to try her best. I think she moved into base contact with Ox there. I don't know, moved first. I don't remember what the opponent's plan was, but yeah, Ox double pushes her out. Into roast, and Fallow can't escape roast. You hit the resilience, roast counters her as well. So that'll shut down the game from there. We can now see the opponent's got no way to kick the ball in the goal. Peck can't do it. Not with 1 influence anyway. I'd be curious if a 2 influence Peck could pull off miracles here. So yeah, it was awkward for getting Protective Instinct, and it was awkward just how awful this turn was played by me in general. Awkward, like forgetting the Gengen press, or not forgetting, just not playing the Gengen press for some reason, so Jack Straw could even have that goal shot. So if Jack Straw scored that goal, we need to hope for a good scatter back here, and hopefully can put the ball in the goal. We would have the 1 momentum, so it is still fairly good. Fillet's quite good at that. If we just brute the ball to here or something. But its bad scatter could wreck our plans. But we definitely gave the opponent outs that they did not need. So, awkward all around. Because we can't really save. It's possible we could have just saved Ox's life. Like, roast pushes Fallow off of him. Maybe that's enough to save Ox, that we don't actually have to risk that scatter. I guess there were options. If roast pushes Fallow off of Ox and then heals himself, 5 tack Fallow probably can't do too much. That said, there'd still be a 3 influence Lamb here we have to respect. All that aside, this is what we should have done initially. As soon as Jack Straw missed that goal. And if we went first, we just needed to like activate Fillet. Fillet goes, kills Fallow or something, also secures the game. Whatever we want to do. Kick it to Ox, Ox dodges to here, Ox goes on a goal run. Stuff like that. There's lots of options. So this game is over, so I'll just do a review of the game while it plays out. We did win 12-6. The opponent can no longer interact with our models, and we've got all the influence in the world to kill a couple of fragile farmers. Or just one of them. So, just talking earlier about macro and micro styles. Macro-wise, I'm pretty happy. Our game plan mostly executed out. We learned Brisket often needs a bodyguard, and we should have recognized that. So we've got to be mindful of if Brisket dodges forward, can anyone actually threaten the ball? And if they can, or if they're threatening with a tackle, we need Roast to come and fix things, or just our player to come and fix things. So that was valuable learning macro-wise. But otherwise, the scrum opponent was very aggressive, too aggressive with Thresher, and so we got the scrum we wanted. We played out the fight exactly how we wanted it to, really. Some awkwardness with Fillet against Fallow that think Fillet could have kept the ball safer than she did. When I used the legendary, it really should have been kill Plowman, dodge to Thresher, kill Thresher, dodge down here or something. Much harder for Fallow, or dodge to cover here. Much harder than where Fillet was. And if we can get it further away from the goal too, Fallow's less likely to get a 6-point activation like we were scared of. So Fillet probably ended up in the wrong position at the end of turn 2. But otherwise, yeah, it was solid little butcher's scrum. Truffle Misty's knockdown was a little awkward. Truffle's Misty's knockdown. Jackstraw is presenting some threat. He's not easy to kill. Maybe there was a line where we could have activated Vedox instead of Roast. Vedox comes in on Jackstraw and then Roast finishes him off. I sort of focused on no, we really, really want Thresher dead. And if I feel like if both Ox and Roast went on Jackstraw, Fillet probably doesn't kill him. Maybe if Truffles had hit that knockdown, maybe we could have gone the kill Jackstraw line. I'm not really sure. We weren't sure when Jackstraw was going to come in for the goal run either. He could have delayed longer if needed. One other option was Fillet potentially could have... Pause there, that's 12 points. I just died. So when Fillet collected the ball and killed these two people, she could have also passed the ball to Vedox, and Vedox dodges forward with it, and then 7-inch sprint, 6-inch kick. Vedox might have had a goal run opportunity there that I didn't recognize. There was still a Fallow yet to activate, and Ox had been wrecked by Lamb. I'd missed the weak point earlier in the video, but Ox was weak pointed there. So I guess Ox standing here with the ball is just inviting Fallow to come and get him. But at the same time, remember Peck needed that activation too. Like they needed the Peck activation to get the second plant marker. So maybe that the activation pressure would have allowed for an Ox goal run or forced an early Fallow activation. So that's something I could have considered too. But yeah, overall, macro-wise, I think things went pretty well. Wouldn't really change the team. They all did what they were supposed to, receiving against Thresher. I guess micro-wise, got a weakness of just overthinking things at the end. I've got to try not to get myself into these knots with Ox. And we weren't really time pressured this game, but especially like if that said 43 minutes on the clock, it gets a lot scarier too. I gotta keep it simple. I'd be able to recognize what matters faster, and Ox's life there did not matter. Ox's activation did not matter. All that mattered was protecting the ball. So micro stuff be a big one to fix. Things like Fillets bouncing between these guys wasn't proper either. Yeah, and then obviously just forgetting protective instinct. Like if that was this was a tournament game. This was round 1 of a tournament. We weren't playing that competitively. Like we'd pause the clocks and everything. But if this was like tournament finals or something, absolutely, that's the sort of thing that you call your opponent on and wreck them. Yeah, otherwise, playing against Thresher sucks. My most hated model in Guild Ball. But I really enjoy playing with Fillet. It was really good getting back into Fillet. I'm hoping to commentate a bunch more Fillet videos going forward. But thanks everyone for watching this one, and until next time.